Welcome to chess, ladies and gentlemen. Man, I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. So, I did go ahead and go back and grab a game. Levon Aronian versus Wesley. So, and this is taken out of the Superbet Blitz and Rapid. They played in Warsaw, Poland. It's a nice game, if I say so myself. So, man, all my people coming from the Philippines, I would say mabuhay, kamusta na. I appreciate you guys very much. Anybody who is coming, now, Levon Aronian plays for United States, but he is from Armenia. So, anybody from Armenia, I would say Vogjuven, Inchpeses, and merci for coming by. But if you guys are ready to go, let's take a look and see what we got for this game, homie. We got the move E4. White wins. I mean, if you ask Bobby Fischer, best by test is what he said. We got the move E5. We got bishop to C4. This is actually the first time I've shown this type of an opening, I believe. I have a lot of videos, so I don't know if this is the first time ever. But bishop to C4 is the bishop's opening. And then we are going to get into, something slightly different. So knight comes to F6. We got D3. And we have what is known as the Berlin defense of the bishop's opening. It's kind of crazy because, I mean, when you think Berlin, you think like Roy Lopez, Berlin. But, I mean, and I honestly, before I did this video, before I saw this opening, I never knew there was a Berlin defense in another opening. So, I mean, you learn something new. You learn something new every day. But I never played bishop to C4 in my life when I played E4. I was always knight to F3 guy. So, that is that. We do see the move C6. We got knight to F3. We got bishop to E7. And then we have castles by white. And some of you guys, I don't know, maybe there's a few of you guys out there that might be looking and thinking, wait a minute. Like, so black didn't defend their pawn. Like, I mean, can I just take their pawn? Well, let's back up and see. So don't castle. Knight takes E5. Yeah, son, I'm living a life where I got a whole pawn, son. No! Not my knight, bro. Yeah, don't do this because we do have a fork between the king and the knight. So that pawn was actually not free after all. So that is why we see Levon go castles. We got the move D6. We got rook to E1. We got castles. Knight B to D2. So, I mean, you know, you can see that everything, I mean, it looks pretty similar of like a Juco piano or, you know, like a regular Roy Lopez Berlin, you know, kind of in the way that the moves are made and stuff like that. But we do see knight B to D7. We got the move A3. We got D5. At some point, you know, C6 was kind of helping D5 come. You know, the bishop is going to get pushed back. So we do see the move bishop to A2. We got queen to C7, and then we do see the move D4. And white basically is saying, bro, you know what? I'm about to just push everything out the way, and I'm just going to checkmate you, homie, right? So pawn takes E4. We got knight taking E4, pawn taking D4, queen taking D4. And, I mean, something I want to point out to you guys. White actually has a really, really nice position. And everything is fairly even, but the thing that I will say about white's position is they are much farther ahead than black is. And it kind of makes a little bit of a difference. If we take some stock, right? You know, white literally has all their pieces out. They just need to get this bishop, you know, somewhere like in the world, right? Not all those, but somewhere in the world. Black is actually quite a bit behind. This rook is already on an open file. This rook is still kind of at home. This bishop hasn't been developed. This rook is not in the game. So, I mean, this bishop is hitting this tender F7 point. So, I mean, white actually has a really, really nice lead in development, as we say in opening terms. We do see knight taking E4, queen taking E4. And then, I mean, black is, you know, they're kind of starting to try to make, you know, a little bit of progress. But they do go bishop to F6. And we actually have the move bishop to F4. And even though black is like completely horribly losing, it is not obvious like why black, at least I don't feel like it's obvious why black is just completely lost in this position. It might kind of seem like, I mean, you know, everything is pretty even. I mean, you did mention the development stuff, but I mean, you know, we can like kind of fix that right. Well, you actually kind of don't have time. We got the move queen down to A5, and then immediately we have bishop to D6. And I mean, black is in a little bit of some trouble because, I mean, you really can't move that rook. It might kind of seem like, can I move it somewhere? Like, I mean, of course I can't go to E8 because of checkmates. Yeah, if you go to E8, if you move the rook, I mean, that's automatically mating. So, I mean, don't do that. But after we go bishop to D6, like some of you guys might be thinking, well, what about rook to D8? Well, actually, rook to D8 is actually pretty horrible as well. We got queen up to E8 with check, which didn't seem like it was possible. We see knight back to F8. Queen takes f7 with check. The king goes over to h8, and then we have queen to g8 with checkmate. So that just rules out moving the rook. Just showing you guys some examples. After we see bishop to d6, black just basically says, man, I'm just going to go ahead and leave the rook alone. And you actually go on a counterattack, bishop taking b2. But white is basically like, bruh, I don't even want that rook, dude. The rook literally doesn't mean anything to me, and you'll see that right here. Bishop does take f8. We see knight taking f8. And before we get any further, we've actually reached a position that if you do want to pause the video and guess what move white should absolutely 100% make in this position, go ahead and do so. Okay, cool. So I mentioned to you guys before about black being so far behind in development, and there is a way to basically continue the horribleness as far as the development goes by basically making it to where black can't really continue to develop. And that move that I'm looking for is actually queen to e8. Like, not only are you hitting this pawn, like I was saying before, you know, trying to checkmate on g8, you are making it really, really hard for this bishop to go anywhere because you're just going to be dropping the rook. And that's the least of your problems. So not trying to change too much. We do see the queen going over to f5, you know, trying to make sure that we don't get attacked on this square. And then we actually see the rook going up to e7. And I mean, you really have zero else you can do other than defending, because you have to defend this square. Like I said, you see that white is like, bro, I don't care about this rook, bro. Like, what's a rook to me? You got all of these pieces that are literally abusing the f7 pawn. And you guys hear me talk all the time about, you know, the f7 pawn or the f2 pawn being very weak. Well, this is like an absolute like class in the f7 pawn being like insanely weak, because like you're literally demolishing it right here with this position. So we actually see the move bishop to e6. And this is a really like sad move to have to make, because you are just dropping your rook in the corner, which is what we see. Queen takes a8. You are going to get this rook in the corner, but like I said, it doesn't even matter, homie. Bishop takes a1. We got the rook up to e7. And this knight is feeling the heat. It's like, like those are tears. He's like, no, I'm sad, bro. Help me, somebody. So the queen goes over to c5. We got bishop taking e6, pawn taking e6. Queen is taking b7. We got queen taking c2. And then we have the move g3. And we have actually reached the point in the game that Wesley so resigns the game. And I think some of you guys might be looking like, what? Like, how is he resigning? Like, I mean, I get it. Black is down in exchange and stuff. But I mean, isn't there still something you can do? There's a few things you can do. None of it really matters. But let's just look at the few options that you have you felt like going forward. The two things that you need to be making sure of is that, number one, you protect this square and you protect this check that could come from this queen on this square, because the knight is pinned. If that happens, you're going to be dropping the rook with back rank mate, because the king is going to have to slide over with that type of check, right? So obviously, I mean, moves like queen to f5, queen to c5 come into mind. You're just making sure that we're kind of holding down, you know, all this stuff that's being attacked. So if you do see the move queen to f5 first, you would be seeing the queen just taking on c6, and we're just winning a little bit of material. And everything is dead even except for white is up the exchange. You would probably see the move h6. You got to have something rolling, and you're trying to create some like some breathing room for your king too, some luft. We would probably see king to g2, probably see the move g5, rook going over to a8. And the main problem that you have as black is this pawn is going to drop at some point, no matter what. There's really no way to hold it, and so you're gonna have like the furthest outside pass pawn that you can get as white. And I mean, you don't even have a bishop that can influence this square. Like, you have a dark square bishop, and this is a light square, so that sucks. So you would probably see queen to f7, the move h3, bishop goes back to f6, pawn to a4, king to g7, and then queen going to a6. And like I said, this pawn is absolutely dropping, and you really kind of have a problem. You know, you've unpinned with your king, but now you have a problem because your king and queen are lined up on the same, you know, rank. So that's not very good. So going back after the move g3, you might say, hey, man, let's just go queen to c3, because you said the e7 square is kind of like iffy, right? Yes. But after you see the move queen to c8, and now we're attacking that pawn, like I said before, you would be seeing queen to f5, and then queen taking c6 actually transposes into the position that we just got done seeing a second ago when we were here. Same thing, right? So you really didn't make that much of a difference with that move. If you went back after the move G3 and you said, you know what, dude? Like, I'm just going to try to save this pawn, bro, because I don't want that outside pass pawn you were talking about. We see the move A5, right? King going up to G2, queen going to F5, so everything is very similar like it was before. Queen takes C6 anyway. I mean, you can't defend both pawns. We got the move G5, H3, H5, and then the rook goes over to A8 again, and we still have a very similar problem with this pawn. Queen is going to go back here, and it's going to be almost the same identical idea. So you see that pretty much all the ideas that are going on between both sides are pretty much exactly the same. So that is that game. It was taken out around 25 of that. So I appreciate everybody very much. Maraming salamat aking makaibigan. Paul sa nanonood ng aking mga video. Merci anybody who is coming from Armenia. And I will see you guys next time.